We recently invited our clients to bring their dogs to our campus to participate in a photo shoot. We asked some of them if they'd like to share their experiences with Canine Company. What we captured was rough and candid, and it was certainly unscripted, but it was exactly what we wanted. We captured our clients sharing their life-changing experiences with Canine Company products and services.
I have 3 dogs, and the newest is Branston, 7 months old, and all 3 use the invisible fence, and I love it because it keeps them safe. But I also have chickens, and it keeps them safe because they know where the invisible fence is, so that when he starts chasing them, they run over there, so that's kind of nice. I would absolutely recommend you to friends and family, because I think it's very important to keep your puppies and dogs safe. And I've never had an incident, or a worry about it.
We've been using Canine Company with Invisible Fence for approximately 6.5 years for our 7-year-old dog Ginger. It's been a great product for us. We live in a community that requires a lot of paperwork to get a fence installed, but we didn't have to do any sort of paperwork for the Invisible Fence. She took to it right away, and it was a great product when she was a puppy, and we actually have moved since having it installed. And when she was about 3 years old, we moved to a new house. We had the fence installed at our new house. We took the works with us, and they put up some flags, and she took to it right away, and she's been great on it ever since. We've had really no incidents with it. I mean, she's great on it. We had a 50-pound raccoon in the backyard one day, and she went tearing after it and stopped right at the fence. And it's been a great product for us.
It was a godsend. Our biggest concern, we have property up in Bar Harbor, Maine, and hopefully you guys do go up that far.
We do.
You do, and we're gonna fence in the area and going out to the lake. But in the front of the house, we're gonna have the invisible fence all around because we want the dogs to be able to run both ways. If they get lost up there, there's a long way you can go. So it's done more of a protection for the dogs, not just a convenience to us, but it is really convenient to us. And I'd recommend the product to anybody. Anybody that has dogs that they care about and they want to protect the dogs. Without a doubt, Invisible Fence, we've had our neighbors use it. Other friends have used it. We've gotten the $50 certificate or something. I would recommend. So we put one child through college already because of those $50. No, but it's just a wonderful system, and I cannot, I can't find anything wrong. And we will always be Invisible Fence, Canine Fence customers. And they've saved our dogs. And I really believe they protect our dogs.
I couldn't imagine having a dog that was tied up or on a line or on a fence or anything else. He roams the yard, friendly with all the other animals in the neighborhood. And that gives them the freedom to play with the other dogs, huh? And I bet you once a month we have a stray dog in our yard that's coming over and visits with Panther, and I don't really know what else to say. I love having the invisible fence for him. I don't think, especially him being a husky, would work being tied up or in a fence or on a line. I would highly recommend it for the animal and the. I remember when he was a puppy at our old house. I was taking him out on a leash and walking out in the dead of winter, and now he comes and goes, and I think it's great for the owner and for the animal.
We got the invisible fence, and I have had 10 dogs. The invisible fence has protected 10 of our dogs. 8 Portuguese water dogs and 2 border terriers. When we got our border terriers, we were told by the breeders they would never be able to be contained by an invisible fence, and we think our Portuguese helped train them, and we've kept 2 of them contained. So 10 dogs safe over a couple of decades. It's been great. We actually have also added the invisible fence in our living room because over the years our dogs made entertaining really challenging. If we put food out on the coffee table, it would vanish. And so we've added it to the living room, and it's wonderful to have in there. We now enjoy our guests. The food is safe, the dogs are contained, and it's wonderful.
Our neighbors had a canine fence, but it wasn't your product, and they weren't happy with it, and then they switched over to you guys after they tried to. So that was a good thing.
But we knew we needed the fence just to make sure that she didn't take off.
She would have run away.
She'd be halfway
She
to
would've
Alaska right now.
Or she would have been hit by a car.
If she, yeah.
From
so.
We've never had a dog that we needed a fence for. I was always able to train my dogs to stay in our yard.
Right.
And when we got her, after 2 weeks of having her, she would have been gone. Absolutely
Yep.
would have been bolted or hit by a car. And so we're like, okay, we'll have to do it. And it was the best. Everyone said, oh, you won't be able to get her to do it because she has beagle in her. And they said beagles are hard to train. We had
The trainer
come out 3 sessions. She was fine.
So I've been an Invisible Fence customer for about 3 years now. I have a Jack Russell Terrier who's very, very hyper. So it's been very beneficial using it in our yard. It keeps them contained and in the yard. And then also around holiday time, we use the indoor unit, which keeps him away from our Christmas tree during the holiday times, which is great because he doesn't go and bother presents and try to shake the tree and do all kinds of crazy things. So I've always been happy with the product, and I would definitely recommend it to others.
We have had Invisible Fence for 5 years, and having the Invisible Fence has allowed us to have freedom with Ruby, where she can be outside in rain, snow, sleet, beautiful sunny days, playing with the kids where she wants to be, without necessarily needing me to be out there at all times, walking her on the leash. So that's been great. Her greatest joy is to run around and romp. And she doesn't always want to be restrained, so this gives us the freedom of having her safety, and also having her the joy of freedom. We've had the fence ripped up several times by machinery in our yard and neighboring yards, and we've had a great experience with the maintenance program, where people have come and fixed our fence for as many times a year at no charge after we paid the yearly fee, which has been really helpful for us considering our circumstances. The trainers were great, compassionate but clear and firm, and helped her learn quickly so that she could take advantage of her freedom as soon as possible.
Let's see, we've had our Invisible Fence for Abby for about 2.5 years. She's 3, and we put it in when she was maybe 3 months old, and she loves it, and I love it because she can scamper around the yard and have fun, and I know she's safe. I know she's not going to go anywhere. She loves to chase the squirrels and the turkeys and everything else that's in the yard, and I don't have to worry about her running after joggers or bike riders that may come by. So that's great. Oh, we've used, we have the Invisible Fence, and we used the training, the manners.
Oh, great.
And that was terrific. That was really helpful. Some great tips for inside the house when she was really little and chewing things, so I got a lot of good training on how to keep her from doing that, which worked really well.
We've had the great product called the Invisible Fence for 16 years. We have now our third German Shorthair Pointer. This dog that we have now is named Boots. He's 6 years old. When we moved to Monroe almost 20 years ago, we had our first German Shorthair Pointer who did not have the invisible fencing. We have about 1.5 acres of property, and before I knew anything about invisible fencing, we always had a problem. What we did for our solutions, we had a 100-foot cord that we put a tie on for the dog, and he went back and forth with a 100-yard. And that got a little tedious for the dog and tedious for us. So along came invisible fencing, and when that dog passed away, we got a new one, and we automatically put the dog on the invisible fence within no more than 10 minutes with the flags around our property. The dog was acclimated to the surrounding and knew his boundary. Absolutely amazing. They actually came out when we first got our short-hair pointer. He was a rescue, along with his next one, and with a third one was a rescue. We got it, the rescue in Reading, Connecticut, and they recommended the invisible fencing, and they actually came out to help us put the line in for the security. And when the first dog getting acclimated to it in 10 minutes, the second dog got acclimated to it in maybe 15. This one that we have now is named Boots. He got acclimated. We got him as a 4-month-old puppy. He got acclimated to the flags and the wiring within just a few minutes. What's good about this product is the first short hair we had, if I didn't have him on a leash, he would be running off. And you know what happens when that occurs. So you'd be running after the dog for 2 days straight. This eliminates all that. The security of having the dogs run out and possibly getting hit is, in the way my wife and I treat our dogs, it would be absolutely devastating if we lost one of our dogs.
Charlie is a 2-year-old dog we found at the ASPCA, and she's very, very cute, but not necessarily so smart, and managed to butt her head through our picket fence 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 times, and we had the fence repaired again and again, and we found her at all of our neighbors' homes, weekly or daily or sometimes twice daily, and then finally decided we couldn't do this anymore, much to our neighbors' dismay, because we were bringing them a lot of wine. And so we had invisible fence installed along our fence line and then also toward the front of our house. And the best part of this is, one, she doesn't run away, which is great, knowing that she's in the backyard securely. But now that we've also included our front yard, she's able to spend so much more time with our family. We don't have to worry about a kid leaving the front door open. We don't have to worry about when she jumps out of the car from a trip that she's going to go running down the driveway and chase whatever might be there, a squirrel. And it's just wonderful not having to worry about our dogs taking off out of nowhere, where when we were fenced with traditional fence, we were finding them not home sort of all the time.
So I got my first German short-haired pointer when I was 13, and he was extremely high energy. They're a very high energy breed. And he was pretty unhappy and frustrated because our yard wasn't fenced in and we couldn't give him enough exercise just on a leash. So we decided to look into options for fencing, and everything was extremely expensive or ugly. And then we discovered the invisible fence, and we realized that it was an affordable option and that he could be running free in our big yard. And it really changed his life and our life because we weren't frustrated with him and he wasn't frustrated with the lack of exercise. And now I have another German short hair and immediately put him on canine fence, and he's just always had it and never had to have that frustration of being pent up. And it's just really helped him to be able to get the exercise he needs, and me to have peace of mind knowing he's safe, he's contained, but he's happy and able to run around. And it makes us happy where we look.